Kia ora, welcome. Hello, my name is John Cook, the CEO of Waka 9. Thank you for joining us today for Second Nature. We had hoped to see you in New York in person at ICFF, Wanted Design, and a number of events we had planned around Manhattan. But alas, we know what's going on and it's a tough situation. We truly hope that you, your loved ones and colleagues are safe, healthy and well. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce David Trubridge, my good friend and colleague, to say a few words about Second Nature. Aro hanui.
Kia ora, tēnā koutou katoa. That's Maori for hi everybody and welcome. I'm David Trubridge. This is our home in New Zealand. This is our showroom. Up here is our design studio and out the back is the factory. I'm really sorry I can't be there in the States at the moment to launch our new products. Obviously, COVID has changed our plans. We were going to be coming to New York in May and launching a new range of lights, but that obviously was cancelled. Now, I'm really sad for all the people who are struggling, and this has been a terrible hardship for many people, this disease. I hope we can overcome it and we can go back to some better lifestyle in the future. For now, we're stuck here in New Zealand, so we're coming to you virtually through this video. And we've called the launch of these new products Second Nature. I love this term. I think it absolutely encapsulates everything that we do. It actually really well describes my design philosophy. It is second nature. What we've realized out of the COVID whole pandemic is how important nature is to us. To hear people in London, as soon as they got out of lockdown, one of the things they did was went straight to a park and sat under a tree. And that deprivation has taught us that we need nature. We need it more than we probably thought we did before in our very busy lives. And if that's one good thing that's come out of the whole COVID pandemic, that's something to be proud of, that we now recognize nature as being more important. So the name Second Nature refers to that. First nature is out there, that's first nature. That beautiful, rambling, wild, rampant growth that's happening everywhere around us, that's life that we're all a part of. That's first nature. And as designers, we take that through our filter of our design thinking and aesthetic, and we bring it inside, and we create second nature in here. Second nature is also these lights being expressed in a new form. They were originally designed using polycarbonate quite a few years ago, and recently we decided to stop using plastic in our production, and so we redesigned them in a new iteration using just plywood. So the lights themselves are a second nature. And the other thing about second nature is it's our second nature. And I think it should be second nature to do things right and well absolutely every time. It's what we instinctively do. We should care and do things beautifully as second nature. And so we hope you enjoy this. We hope you like our new products. We're very pleased with them. We're proud of them. And I'm sure you will be too. So here you are. Ka kite anō. That means see you soon. I hope so. Bye.
Thank you, David. This next film I call I Am an Explorer. It's shot beautifully in New Zealand, and it really provides insight into David and his creativity, where his ideas come from, and his inspiration. He explores nature and human nature, creativity and design. I hope you get as much out of this film as I do.
I don't consider myself a designer. I don't solve problems. I'm an explorer. I'm lured by the horizon. What is over there? If you know where you're going, then why go? Exploring and creating a risk-taking. I love to walk freely over open country, avoiding tracks. Tracks are where other people have been. They're a safe return back to where you started. trackless wilderness and out in the ocean, I can delve deep into myself and find my place in nature. You can't will creativity. You can't sit down at a desk and expect it to happen to order. You have to know the conditions in which it may occur, and then put yourself there and wait. But truly creative is the unexpected, something you never knew existed. That's what I'm trying to find, but I don't know till I found it. It lurks in liminal zones between dark and light, between the elements, always on the edge. The artist wanders in this zone, seeking to escape the I, to escape human hubris. Nature is not the other, it's not something separate, apart from ourselves. We are nature, like all living creatures, and we live in mutual dependency. There are more cells, microbes in our body than there are our own cells. So what are we? Bacteria? Human? There is more complexity around one small plant than a whole city tower block. So I see my role as a designer, as an artist, to try and bring some of the sparkle of life into the monotonous grids of our cities. Ko au te whenua, ko te whenua ko au. I am the land, and the land is me.
Now it's time to introduce the new Cloud product family. This design is actually reimagined from a previous version. David and the team focused on reducing plastic from this product as well as minimizing the impact on the environment. He achieved both. In May, New York by Design Product Awards recognized David and the Cloud as an honoree in the reissue category. The Cloud is yet another example of David doing the right thing, not sitting on his laurels and really making things better by design. Now, introducing the new Cloud.
We first arrived in New Zealand on our yacht. We were sailing south, riding on a northerly wind from behind us. I knew land was over to our right, but it was hidden by a long, low cloud. The Maori first arrived here by this same ocean route. We later learned that their word for New Zealand is Aotearoa. It means the land of the long white cloud. In 2008, we created the Spiral Island set for our Milan show. It depicted a white cloud hanging above the mirrored form of an island seat, just like the Pacific Islands. The cloud lights became successful, but they were made from plastic. And last year, for environmental reasons, we pulled all plastic lights out of our collection. So this year, we are launching new, all plywood, kit set versions of 2 sizes of cloud light.
David and team continued the focus on reducing plastic from the range, resulting in the new Ebbs series. This is another reissue, another reimagining of an existing design, and the material used is actually Finnish birch plywood, a slight departure from the usual bamboo we use. Only available in natural, but there's a lovely warm glow when illuminated and a very, very nice wood grain. Introducing the new Ebbs.
As the moon circles the earth, its gravity pulls a surge of sea below it. This becomes the tides. As the sea ebbs and flows, it races through passes and into confined bays. Water does not like to flow in straight lines. Its natural state is the spiral. The most famous whirlpool is Charybdis from Greek mythology. Maori also have mythical stories depicting the battle between land and sea, between the gods Tangaroa and Tane. Land and water have always been pushing each other around. The Ebb family of lights was a collection of spiraling black and white lights that we created in 2010, made from alternating strips of polycarbonate and plywood. But last year we decided, for environmental reasons, to pull all plastic lights from our collection. So this year we are launching a new range of kit set Ebb lights. Now the same spirals are made from translucent birch plywood.
I'm here. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. We're going to jump into the Q&A. I'm John Cook. You might recognize me from the earlier videos. And got my good friend and colleague, David Trubridge. He's actually coming to us from the future and also New Zealand. So it's Wednesday morning there for those in New Zealand. Also, kia ora to the Kiwis on the call, and the Aussies, and anyone else that's joined us from Europe. It's pretty late for you, but I know that there are a few people that signed up, so thank you. The Q&A, we've got like about 1,000 questions for this Q&A, so there's far too many, unfortunately. We're gonna jam through them. We may go a little bit longer than the bottom of the hour. We will announce the winner of the new Ebb fixture, so there's one there behind me. We'll announce that just before the bottom of the hour, but we will stay on. We really thank you for your questions. They're very insightful. It shows us that you're engaged and that you have a lot on your mind in terms of things to ask. So let's jump into those questions now, and David's going to do his best to answer them. So we're going to talk a little bit about materials. Jason Shanta, our great rep out in Southern California. Thank you, Jason. Jason asks, David, are you thinking of using other materials in the future outside of bamboo and birch, while keeping in line with the Trubridge brand and product image?
Yeah, that's a good question. We are. Obviously, we're best known for our plywood, both bamboo and now birch ply from Finland. And the natural material is really important to us. So when you kind of box in that restraint on what we do, there's not really a lot of options. But one option we are exploring, have been for quite a long time, is a biopolymer made from organic material, a plastic that's made from plant material. And we're working with a research laboratory in New Zealand to produce a range of lights, hopefully using this biopolymer. And the exciting thing about it is we can also put color in it. We can put other materials. They've experimented with flax fiber, harakeke, with power, which is abalone shell, grind up shell. So there's a lot of options for this to create some quite interesting colors and textures. So answer, yes, we are, but it's a long-term project.
Okay, great. How does the product development part of your design process get influenced by materials? Does the design drive the materials, or does the materials drive the design?
It's a bit of both. As I said, we are constrained with the materials that we like to use and want to use because of our ethics. But then within that, we try to expand what we can do with those materials. And the design process is a kind of a constant going round and round in circles. That you try something as an idea on paper, you then take it into a material exploration to see if it works, and we have great ideas, and you put it to the material, and the material doesn't like it, doesn't work, doesn't behave like you expect it, so you have to go back. So the material informs the design process equally as well. And it's a kind of symbiosis of working between what the material is capable of, what you know it's capable of, and your own ideas, which you're trying to work with.
Fantastic, thank you. Let's talk a little bit about sustainability and the environment as it relates to your business. So Rick Hopkinson is asking, he mentions that your factory is in Hawke's Bay on the North Island, a lovely region. Well, it's pretty hard to have a horrible region of New Zealand, but lovely region of New Zealand, Hawke's Bay. Have you ever been tempted to move operations elsewhere, including overseas?
Yeah, hi Rick, thanks for your question. We always explore possibilities. Yes, we have talked about it, but no, we don't want to do it. We have a very good lifestyle here, and we're very happy to work where we are. And it's not as expensive as in one of the big cities of New Zealand. But also we like to keep control of the product. I mean, we could contract out a certain amount of manufacturing to other people, but there's a risk in that you never be quite sure you have the same quality control, and that is really important to us. And we have the capacity in our factory for the moment to do all that we're asked to do, so we'd rather stay where we are. And if you've ever been to Hawke's Bay, you'd know it's a beautiful place and you wouldn't want to move.
Thank you. Nicola Devine from New Zealand. Kia ora, Nicola. What is the next priority for increasing sustainability in your business?
The next I mean, there are actually always things which we're doing to improve, and we try to talk about that, to share what we're doing. One of the things we're working on at the moment is the clips. Having removed plastic from the outer material of the lights, we're still using nylon as the clipping material, and that's always been an issue for us. And we have got some trials. We're experimenting with different fasteners using again a biopolymer like the one I was talking about before, which would get us away from fossil fuel use and from non-degradable plastic. So that's the next one we're trying to work on. It's not an easy one because we're not a big consumer of those products, and so it's quite hard to persuade the manufacturer to change, but we are working on it. But that's the one that we're tackling right now. Okay,
great. Now we're going to talk a little bit about inspiration. Probably half the questions we got were all about inspiration. So I hope that you got a good solid glimpse of David's inspiration and his design process from the videos, as well as background on Ebbs and CLOUDs. For those folks that don't know a whole lot about David's other designs, we have some excellent videos on waka9.com about the coral, navicular, kina, and kura. They go into the different aspects of the design of those fixtures. And then we have a wonderful talk. It's about 45 minutes, called Beauty Matters. So that can provide another insight. It's David's presentation that he's given many times around the world. It's sort of like a TED talk, if you would, about design and about beauty and aesthetics and history and culture. Again, it's about 45 minutes long. It's a CEU for those folks. So we've got plenty of information on inspiration, but I did pick out a couple of questions that I wanted to ask David. So Keith Flamank, another Kiwi friend of mine actually, kia ora, Keith, living out in Los Angeles. Keith wanted to know, David, what influence has Māori culture, the native New Zealand people, Māori culture, had on your work and designs?
Yeah, hi Keith. I mean, I think you can tell from the naming of the lights that Maori culture is important to me. I respect that the Te Reo, the Maori language, is the language of this land. And so we try to use it to name many of our designs because it is the voice of the land speaking. And these lights are an expression of the land. Behind John there, behind his right shoulder, you can see Nikau, which is, and you can see the photograph of the palm tree. So we're deriving the idea from the native flora and we're giving it the native name. But also some of the stories of the Maori, and this is with respect. I mean, I talked to Kaumātua, the local elders, and they're okay with us using the stories. The original 3 Baskets of Light is a Maori story, and within it there's a moral there that tells, I think, is a good moral for us in our world today. So yes, Maori culture for me is really important as an expression of New Zealand and the place in which we live.
Okay, thank you. Joshua Salter, I'm not sure where Joshua is from, but Joshua Salter asks, when you're stuck in a creative block, what is your first step in getting out?
To go into the wild nature, go up into the mountains and the forest and sit, and not to try. The more you push, the more you try, the more you get stuck. So just go away. It'll come back to you.
We're going to go back to sustainability. Laurence Carr, our new friend from New York. Bonjour, kia ora, Laurence. David, can you talk about the LCA, the life cycle assessment of this new lighting product or your products in general?
Yeah, hi, Laurence. We did an LCA analysis of coral way back over 10 years ago, 12 years ago or more. And that's really what started us in the kit set run, because it made us realize that the biggest bad thing about our whole process was the freight, and we had to reduce that. We've since updated that LCA, and we don't have a specific LCA for the new designs, but basically it's we're using all the same processes and materials, so all that we've learned already applies to these. And that actually informs our design process. We need to know those things while we're going through the process to know, yes, we can do this, and no, we can't do that. And that's a very important part of the design process.
Right, jumping into your crystal ball or reflection, advice from Meryl Vander Nieuwenhuizen. Excuse me, Meryl Vander Nieuwenhuizen. What would you tell your future self not to do in the past? If that makes sense.
It's not a big one, but the one I often talk about is the name of the business. I would have not given it my name if I'd known where it was going when I formed the company. The company was just with us, me working on the very small scale on my own in a studio workshop. And I don't think it's a good idea to have a personal name running a business. I think Waka 9 is far better than David Trubridge, and that's a business thing. It's not a design thing, but that's what I would have said. Otherwise, hey dude, you did it pretty good. Do it again.
Serena Aladrisi, what is one major challenge the future presents to designers very, very much right now, and what responsibility to the future do they have, if any?
Oh, that's a big one. I mean, that is the real issue that we face today in the world. I mean, without a doubt, the absolute biggest challenge that the human race faces is the climate crisis. And everybody has to do everything they can to mitigate that, to reduce our impact on the environment, stop producing carbon dioxide, stop producing plastic and filling up the oceans with plastic, and using up materials in a one-way trip from the mine to the landfill. and in the process consuming energy. So everything that we do has to be measured against that. We have to reduce our carbon in every way that we can, and use renewable materials that can go into this circular economy, that not this one-way trip. That's our biggest challenge, and it's what we talk about most. It's what we're faced with every day, I think, in our lives, not just in our design. So I hope we can all rise to this challenge.
And semi-commercial plug, we have started a webinar series called From the Edge, and David has a guest every month or so, and we've had a couple of interior designers and other luminaries, and we've got a few planned for the future which talk about these issues and talk about them in more depth, and we've got more time than today, called From the Edge. So we'll certainly get that information out to you. We've got episodes in August, September, October, and most likely November, talking about different issues as they relate to how designers can better influence the world for improvement. So we're almost at the bottom of the hour. So now it's the fun drawing of an Ebbs fixture of your choice. So you now know about the Ebbs. There's 4 different designs. Just to prove that I am in Texas, I do have Dr. Pepper, so that's always a very good Texan drink. And I have a hat, which we're going to draw the winner out of. All right, and I think, let me just have a quick look. Yes, I can see she's online. So the winner is Anna Wynn from Luma Lighting and Design.
Well done, Anna.
I will email, I think Luma, I'm not sure where they're based exactly, possibly up in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if Anna is there. Anna, are you there? No, she might have gone.
I am here.
Oh, she's there.
Yay! Thank you. I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I hope you're doing okay. Don't go outside, please, and that sort of stuff. All right. Well, very good. Well, congratulations, Anna. I will be in touch. Or you can drive to Austin and come and hang out and pick it up. So we don't ship. You've got to come and pick it up. So there we go. But,
I don't think you want me to drive to you right now.
Congratulations, and you can pick whatever model, whatever design you like from the 4 that you saw today. But that's great. Everyone's a winner. So, and as I said, we've got a few more questions that we're going to continue on with past the bottom of the hour. I understand if people have got other things to do. But also, thank you very much for tuning in. We've got about 250 people that are online right now, which is a very, very good number for us. And we're really happy that you could all make time to spend with David and us and the Waka 9 and Trubridge teams collectively. So thank you. All right, back to the questions. From Adam Roy, I believe Adam is out in New Zealand. So kia ora, Adam. David, will you make more furniture in the future?
Hi, Adam. Yeah, thanks for your question. I'd love to, and we are actually doing some right now. Not production furniture. I think it's unlikely that we'll do production furniture because the cost of producing and shipping from New Zealand is too high, and we excuse me, we can't do it competitively. But I do love furniture, and at the moment we're making some seating for a development in New Zealand. I don't want to say too much because I'm not able to yet, but we are doing a one-off project of a bunch of seats for a New Zealand project. So we do that, and we would welcome other one-off commissions of various pieces of furniture, feature benches for entrance foyers. We love doing these big sculptural pieces, and we're absolutely able to do that.
All right, so I'm getting more familiar with Zoom now, so which is exciting. So we've got some questions coming in live and direct. So Stacey Groder asks, are the Ebbs lights also available with LED? And what about dimensions and shipping to the US? In fact, I'm going to answer that. So we're based in Austin, Texas. We're David's distributor. We work with a bunch of people. I can see a lot of our colleagues online, Andy Griffith from LA and a bunch of other folks, Andrew from Lights Up. So we've got a lot of representatives around the country, so it depends where you're located. If you're a trade customer, a designer, architect, what have you, you can work with one of our local reps. If you're a consumer, you can order online, or you can visit a showroom when they open back up, or if they're open in your area. When you say LED, the vast majority of the fixtures are lamped with an E26 bulb. So all of the lighting you see behind me, those are all LED E26 lamps. We have a couple of more, sophisticated fixtures, if you want to call them that, from an illumination standpoint. Navicular has an LED strip, and the Maru has LED clusters, and those are custom LED fixtures. And probably too much information, but all the fixtures UL listed electrics or ETL. But thank you for the question, and what a good answer that was. All right, we're going to sort of go into a little bit of a different area and talk about, affordability or price. So we've got a couple of questions, one from Siva Guda. So thank you for asking this question. And Alberto Martinez de Velasco, I believe he's out of Mexico. So hola, Alberto, same sort of question. Have you thought about designing a line accessible, which I think means in price, for anyone?
Yeah, we can do that. We could make our lights an awful lot cheaper. We could use, we had a cheaper plywood which we could have used, but we discovered it was cut from forests which were being clear felled and not replanted. So we didn't want to do that. We could ship our manufacturing to Asia, to sweatshops, to even slave labor in some cases, and make it an awful lot cheaper. But that wouldn't be good, so we don't want to do that. So to be honest, we can't make a cheaper light that we're doing now, with all the responsibility that's inherent in that, all the quality that's inherent in that, all the good design. And if we made it cheaper, you'd be disappointed because it would cut corners, and that's not good. And I think the main thing is that if we're going to go forward in this world and have a bright future for our children, then we have to stop consuming so much and just buy less goods which are good and last for longer. And that they're going to cost more, but because you're spending less, you're not actually spending so much money. We've got to shift our buying habits, and we're trying to encourage that with the product that we design, which is good design which will last and made responsibly, and that is not cheap. And all those people who do buy that, I thank you for that and making that commitment.
So sort of with respect to that, Rachel Perrott asks, oh, and I'm glad she's asked a question because I wanted to call her out. So she has Best Email Award. It's not you don't win a prize or anything, but her email is phardreaming@gmail.com. So I'm a West Aucklander, a Westie. Piha's our big beach out there, and I believe just recently, hopefully before the bad stuff happened, there was a pretty phenomenal surf competition out there. So anyone that knows about the west coast of New Zealand, we like our surfing, and Piha is one of those famous black sand beaches. So Piha Dreaming. So Rachel Perrott asks, what changes have you seen in the design industry, pretty big question, that bring you hope? What changes bring you hope?
Hi, Rachel. And yeah, John, surfing. I was out surfing last weekend up on the East Coast, so we all get into that around here, even though it's winter. So what gives me hope? I think it's the creativity of designers. We have the ability, if we really put our minds to it, to come up with fantastic solutions to move forward and change the way in which we live. I think we need to redesign everything about our lifestyle. And so design thinking is core to that, and creative thinking, thinking outside the box, thinking of things, ways that people haven't thought before. That's creative thinking, and that opens up new possibilities for all sorts of things. I'm not just talking about product, I'm talking about our cities, our lifestyles, everything has to be redesigned for a better way for the future. And that gives me a lot of hope, because we do have great creative thinkers.
I've got a couple of questions, one from our good friend Douglas Burton in Washington, D.C. Or Oregon, depending on where he's living right now. But kia ora, hello, Douglas. And also Michael Woodall also asking about the birch plywood. So a couple of things. What is the expected life of the plywood, and also is it a renewable resource like bamboo?
Yeah, hi Douglas. Yes, the birch plywood is absolutely renewable. I've been to the factory. We've also been to the factory which makes the bamboo in China, but I've been to the factory in Finland, and all the trees they use to produce their plywood comes from within 150 kilometers of the mill, and it's all grown as fast as it's cut. They don't need to go any further. They're constantly renewing it and cutting it as it goes. So it's a totally sustainable resource, and I think that's one of the great reasons for using it. It is a thin plywood. It won't stay absolutely perfectly flat, and I like that. That's the nature of the material. It will get slight sort of ripples in the surface over time, possibly, maybe not. Depends on the environment within which you hang it. But it's been used for lighting by other companies for quite a long time. It's a very durable, strong material, and it will last. But you do need, and there was another question I think that came up, I could answer this one at the same time. You do need to clean it occasionally with just very, very mild soapy water and a slightly bristly, coarse Scotch-Brite pad sometimes, or just a sponge.
Thanks, David. So Laura Goodman asks, can they be painted? So I'm going to answer the first part of that. So bamboo, the bamboo fixtures, if you're not familiar with them, so Cloud is a new bamboo fixture, and that's available in a number of stock colors. I think from memory there's about 8 or 10 different colors that are available as stock. Natural without any color is also a very popular option, and we can do custom colors. So if you're a designer and you wanted to select a Benjamin Moore or a Sherwin-Williams or a specific color, you could even send in a swatch, a fabric swatch from a couch. We've done Atlanta Falcons red, believe it or not. We did a number of fixtures for the Atlanta Falcons Stadium. So that's the bamboo, but I'll turn it over to David and talk about the birch ply, because that is not available with paint. So it'd be interesting to understand the decision not to paint it and what went into that. So David, over to you.
Yeah, the birch ply we used to replace the polycarbonate, and the reason we're using the polycarbonate was to act as a diffuser, because not everybody wants to see as much of the bulb as some of our lights reveal. And this is what the birch plywood does. It's so thin that the light comes through it and it acts as a diffuser. It has this beautiful warm glow at night when you see it. And so because of that, we can't paint it, because if you painted it, you create an opaque layer which wouldn't let the light out. It would just go dark, it wouldn't black, you wouldn't see the color. So the feature of the Ebbs lights and the birch plywood is its natural warm glow without any paint. You can, if you like, use like a Philips Hue bulb inside if you want to create a bit of color. That's one way to do that, to create some different colors, color effects, but not with paint.
Right. And I'll send Douglas $10 for this question. David, when will outdoor fixtures be available?
I wish. They are actually available. We have tried, well, we have tried with aluminum, and that, just the straight anodized silver aluminum is relatively okay. We've made a few of those. I've got a couple on our covered deck outside with anodized aluminium, and you can get beautiful colors with that, but it's very difficult to do, and we haven't found a way to do that commercially. So it is for us, it's a holy grail. We'd love to be able to produce a durable outdoor light in the same price range as our current lighting. And it is something we often think about, but we haven't got there yet. I would love to do it. Douglas, you'll get one day, I promise.
All right, thank you, Marianne. We've got some comments coming in. Marianne thinks that we both look healthy. That's nice. It's good to be healthy. I'm sorry, I'm just getting used to Zoom. We're looking at the webinar chat, so quite a few questions, believe it or not. I'll improve it, David. We've got a number of requests for outdoor. And you know, one of the challenges with outdoor is that the materials that lend themselves to CNC manufacture and having malleability and flexibility to go into these designs involve petroleum. And you know, it's a way to protect, and probably an easy way to protect. There are other ways. So we're really looking at it. We're working on sourcing a high pressure laminate, and they're telling me it's eco friendly with the Declare database and environmental product declarations. So once all that information is there, I'll get that into the hands of David and Matt and Josh and the team when they have a good look at it. But we're just not going to create an outdoor fixture that is made of bad material. That's just something we can't do. You know, there's a balance, right? We could potentially make it with a you know 85% material, meaning it almost gets 100% of checking all the boxes. But if we're making it out at 85%, it may replace fixtures that are being purchased now that are just terrible, and that shouldn't be out there. So it's not an easy one to find this outdoor material. We've been trying, quite frankly, outside of the aluminum, we've been trying for 7 or 8 years now. So we'll have a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Real quick, easy one. Will you, excuse me, Anita Shirley from Design Chic in New Zealand. Kia ora, Anita. Will you produce more tall floor lamps in the future?
Hi, Anita. We did have a couple of floor lamps. The reason, excuse me, the reason that we haven't is that we need to certify them. And the cost of certifying lights today, it used to be very easy to produce a new light and put it on the market, but now we have to go through electrical certification, and that can be $10, $20, sometimes even $30,000 upfront cost before you start selling. And we didn't sell enough of the floor standing lamps to cover that cost. So sadly, I would love to be able to do more of them, but sadly at the moment we're not looking at that. And we have table lights, and you can buy those ones to put on a sideboard or whatever, but adapters to fit any of our small light range to put onto a stand and to a base, but sadly not floor lamps. But thank you for the question.
The other challenge with floor lamps that we've found even in the US is that there's not many sort of component-based ones. So, you know, 3 or 4 feet of pipe makes for a big package, and then a heavy base also makes for a heavy package as well, and damage and things. So it's not that it's impossible. Obviously other manufacturers are able to do it, but one of the things that you can do is David, as he said, there is a table lamp adapter that can work for the coral and the floral and the kura, the smallest sizes in each. And potentially that could go on a floor lamp base. Might be a little bit small, but it could work. So, but unfortunately, it's not really on the drawing boards now. One other product that might be, David, another question on new products. What about wall sconces? I know you've played with those and had a few prototypes. What about wall sconces? Anything about those in the future?
We keep coming back to that one. We have had a few, and we do have in our range the sunflower, which are kind of wall lights. And they're not actually a complete light fitting. They're just a shade which goes over an existing wall, a sort of round wall light, like an oyster light or something like that. We have tried wall lights, but we haven't had enough of a response to justify the cost of setting up a production run of them. And so that's why we haven't followed it up. But if you look through our back catalogues, the wear wall lights at different times, but we didn't sell enough to make it worthwhile.
All right. So I think it's time to wrap it up. And I've got one final question. I'm going to commit to reviewing the questions again, and those ones that we didn't get to, or topics that we didn't address. David and I will send out emails or make some Facebook posts or something to answer those, because we do thank you for your questions. It makes for just a much richer event and a discussion, and we were quite surprised actually with the number that came through. So thank you again. The last question, and then David, we can wrap up, is from George Williams. Kia ora, George. George from BDD in New Zealand. David, where do you see your designs in 10 years' time?
exactly where they are now, hopefully. I mean, in terms of ones which are already out there, they're designed to last. People love them and they keep them, and they will still be there. I've got lights here in my house which have been here for 15 years. So in that respect, that's part of that side of the question. They will still be there. In terms of what we're doing, I do not design for fashion. I do not design to change every few years, to have a new range, to get people to sort of ditch the old one and buy the new one. That is not sustainable. That is not ethical. So we designed to create classic lights, which I hope will be around for 10, 20, 30, 50 years, like some of the classics from the mid 20th century are still being bought today. That's what I would like to see, and I hope that's what will happen.
So I lied, because our good friend Susanna Ruman from the Bay Area, out in San Francisco Bay Area, what about sort of a compostable material, a compostable fixture, which essentially, you know, wood is that to some extent. It takes a while to degrade, but are there any other materials that might have a quicker life cycle that is compostable or can be returned to the earth that you're aware of?
Well, the biopolymer which I was talking about earlier, that is compostable. So that definitely answers that one. I mean, obviously you have to think about end of use, but I think the more important thing is to prolong the use rather than design for end of use straight away. I'd like to think, as I said just now, that these lights and these fixtures will last for a long time, and people will keep them and look after them, and they won't need to throw them away. But that is one of the reasons we use wood, as John said, is because wood is biodegradable. It goes back to the environment it came from. There is glue in there that is not so easily degradable, and there is room for improvement in the amount of glue that's used in the material, and we'd like to get away from that if possible. That's one of the many little things we're always trying to think about, how we can improve. So hi, Susanna. Hope you're well up there in the Bay, and thinking of you guys with the COVID.
All right, well, officially this is the wrap up. So thank you again, everyone, all involved. I'd like to also thank Katie on the Waka 9 team, and Wendy as well, for all the effort in putting this event together, with good support from Ben and Zach in New Zealand. Obviously, David just comes in. He's sort of the rock star guy, so he just comes in at the last minute and jets in, but obviously he gives us great support too, as well as Josh Lynch in David Trubridge land. So thank you for everyone that put a lot of effort in, and also thanks to our partners out in lighting land world. I know it's difficult right now, and many of us are, you know, just to be straight, are freaking out a little bit. Our model of going and seeing our design community in person is just on its end, right? And it probably won't be coming back too soon, and maybe never will be the same. So hang in there. We've got this. We're going to do more digital stuff. We miss seeing you in person, but we're not going away. So we want to support you as best we can. So anyway, goodbye from me, and I'll let David say a few words to wrap up. Thank you again for joining Second Nature. Kia ora.
Yeah, and thank you from me for everybody for joining this event. I wish I could actually see you in person, share eye contact, shake hands, all that kind of physical stuff which we're missing. That's one of the things we've lost a lot in the last 6 months, and I hope we are able to regain it in the future. Okay, I'm sure we will. But in the meantime, this form of communication is working for us, and thank you all for being a part of it, for joining us. Please keep in contact. Please keep this energy going. We'd love to hear from you again more. And any feedback you've got, keep it rolling in. Keep the contact going, because I think it's really important we do that, and we share anything that we have and we've got, and as we move forward. So in hope for the future, Mari is saying, ka kite anō, see you again soon, bye for now.